When you're new in this industry, you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes, whether it's calling on builders, sitting in a builder model on the days that the rep is off, wearing your name tag everywhere you go. You can't be a secret agent.
Jill, thank you for joining the podcast. It's great to have you on.
Thank you for having me, Ladney.
Absolutely. One of the things I love that you're doing, amongst many things, you support a new charity with a golf tournament every year. Tell me about the golf tournament and who you guys chose to support this year.
5 years ago, I wanted to find a way to give back to the community by supporting local charities. So I actually established a 501c3. And the first year, we were actually going to support a local charity here in Cypress. And then one of our agents was diagnosed with breast cancer. So we pivoted immediately and decided to make that year to benefit her. And we were able to give her a check for over $40,000 that first year from that golf tournament. And then every year, we vote on a new charity as a team. And then last year in 2024, we decided to merge efforts with another big team here in Cypress, Amy Lippincot's team. And so together with JST Cares and Lippincott Loves, which is her 501c3, last year and this year we did the tournament together. And this was actually the 5th year for the tournament. We moved it from the spring to the fall because there's a lot less competition in the golf tournament world in the fall, and as far as getting supporters to help us out. So we did it on 9/11 last year in 2024. And we just had a really great turnout, great outpouring. People loved the fact that we were doing it on 9/11. We supported a military charity last year. This year we decided to support Camp Hope, which is also military related as well. They provide housing and benefits, emotional support benefits, and financial benefits to former enlisted soldiers who are suffering from PTSD. And many of them are homeless. They've discovered that a lot of the homeless population in Houston are actually veterans. So we decided to support that charity this year. And after learning all that we have about that charity and actually visiting their facility and touring their facility, we've decided to support them again in 2026. So in 2026, our tournament will be on September the 10th to support Camp Hope at CSC of America. So we're really excited about it. They provide huge benefit to the veterans in our community that are suffering.
So you're in the Houston area. I know Cypress is a big part of where you're focused, but you do deals all over the area, right? Tell us a little bit about your team and how did you get in the industry? Because you didn't start in real estate, I believe, pharmaceutical world back in the day.
So I was a pharma rep for about 9 years. Got laid off in 2009. Of course, at the time, thought it was the end of the world. Turned out to be a blessing. I was traveling a lot in the role that I was in pharmaceutical sales and just decided that I did not want to travel as much and took that opportunity to pivot completely and go into real estate. And fortunately, part of my severance package, I had a great severance package, and part of that severance package was covering educational costs. So they actually paid for me to get my real estate license and several designations as well. And so I started in May of 2009, had no idea at the time what a horrible real estate market it was. So it's funny now when I go to conferences and they're talking about this year and last year, like this is not 2009 all over again. Well, I started in 2009 and was successful in 2009 and 2010. And then in 2012 was when I started a team.
And how were you successful in 2009, 2010?
I mean, I just am a believer of doing everything and anything that you can to find clients. I really focused, I had small children at the time. And so I really focused on working with sellers so that I wasn't out running around on the weekends as much showing properties. And I had a great mentor at the time that I went into the industry that had actually sold my house previously and had given me some great advice on how to really focus on sellers. And, I wore my name tag everywhere I went. I had my magnets on my car. It's like nobody questioned what I did for a living. Anywhere I went, everybody knew I was in real estate. So I was striking up conversations almost everywhere.
Oh, that's cool. When we first started Allied Title, my neighbor was one of the top agents in our area. And I went and met with her and she goes, when we first started, I did everything and anything. And first year I got 0 deals. And then the next year I met these people and they're like, I see you everywhere. You've been in this industry for 15 years, haven't you? And she just talks about how you've got to commit to it. You got to do everything and anything. Eventually it'll catch up. It'll catch up when people see it. It'll catch in people's minds. And it's something I remember from starting it because it sounds like a similar story.
Absolutely. And, I think when new agents come into the industry and they see somebody like me that's been doing it as long as I have, and they're like, well, you're not doing open houses. Well, I have a team. My team does open houses. I've got a big base of past clients. So the majority of the business that I personally do is referrals or repeat business from past clients. But when you're new in this industry, you've got to be be willing to do whatever it takes, whether it's calling on builders, sitting in a builder model when on the days that the rep is off, wearing your name tag everywhere you go. You can't be a secret agent. So you've always got to be networking and having confidence. When I started, the other agents that I co-opt with would often tell me once they found out that I was new that they had no idea that I was new because you just act like you've been doing it forever.
By the way, it's pretty good benefit they gave you after they laid you off of paying for education.
They have to give me $5,000 for education. And of course, it doesn't cost $5,000 to get your real estate license, not in Texas. It's way too easy to get your license. So, and I wasn't going to let them keep any of that money. You had to spend it in order to get it. So I just kept taking classes and getting designations until I used up all $5,000.
I love it. You spoke about mentorship earlier. I know you're part of the Tom Ferry network, and it sounds, many of the partners and agents we work with, we've met through the Tom Ferry network because they're so connected. How's that experience been for you?
It's been great. So I'm one of those people that always believes in learning and growing. I don't care how long you've been in this industry or any industry. If you're not sharpening your saw, then you're doing yourself a disservice and a disservice to your clients. So I've always believed in coaching and learning. And for me, I have been very blessed and very successful from the beginning being an individual agent. Where I needed help was starting and growing a team. And when I started my team in 2012, teams were relatively new and we were coaching with a different organization. I won't say the name, but they were very individual agent focused and they were not providing me really any value as far as growing a team. And then I had the opportunity to meet with somebody from Tom Ferry's organization and realized that, they were probably a better fit because they had a lot of teams that were part of their organization. In fact, they had a coaching level that was specific to teams. So I went to an event in April in Dallas. And at the time I was coaching myself individually, but I met with Tom. They had talked about their team level coaching. You had to have a certain criteria in order to be invited to be a part of that coaching level. We had the criteria. So at the time he introduced me to Debbie Holloway. And that day I signed up for team coaching and we've been in team coaching ever since. So it's huge benefit because they don't just coach me, they coach the agents on my team. They help us with, all aspects of running a team, financials, your P&L, bettering yourself for your clients. And it's a great network. Everybody that's part of that network they're always willing to share and collaborate. And it's just the network that I have across the country it's amazing.
It's something I've noticed. A lot of title companies don't collaborate together, but these agents, they're a collaborative bunch. I'm jealous of that. It's actually not completely true. I do have a title mastermind, some great title company owners across the country, but in my local market, they're not very collaborative. That's really cool. What made you decide to create your own team? What was the hardest part of it?
In 2012, as I had mentioned previously, I was focusing a lot on listings. So I was listing houses. I was getting phone calls off of my listings from buyers that were potentially interested in my listing. Even though in Texas, we are allowed to represent both sides of a transaction, I choose personally not to do so. I personally don't think it should be allowed because it's really a conflict. So I was referring those buyers to other agents that were in my office, but they didn't work for me. And so, I didn't like that because I didn't have control over that client's experience. I was really handing them off. And I was also losing out on potential residual business from that client, repeat and referral business from that client. So I had gone to a Houston Business Journal Awards in spring of 2012 and realized when they started announcing teams, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting concept. And again, teams were relatively new. So that day I came back to the office, I had an agent actually approach me because she was really struggling and she was looking for administrative work. And so I already had a part-time admin. I said, well, you know what? I'll hire you to do some admin work if you'll agree to also be a buyer's agent for me because I'm getting all these calls and I don't like handing them over to other people that aren't, working with a client the way that I would work with. So that's how the team started. And then the second or third agent that I added to my team is still on my team today.
Very cool. How large is the team today?
12 agents plus myself, and we are still growing. We're probably going to add 5 to 7 more agents this year. And then I have 4 admin to support the team as well.
Nice. The people that you're adding, are there people that are new to the industry? They've been in the industry for a while and are looking to join a team. What's the makeup typically when you're adding new people?
We do add new agents, newly licensed agents. I like newly licensed agents because they don't have any bad habits that come with them. I can train them how, we operate and we do things. So in some aspects, that's easier. But we also do look for agents that maybe have some experience, but maybe are struggling to get to that next level that need the support that a team provides.
think I've seen some pictures of your French bulldog. I think it's part of your logo. Give me your love for Frenchies as well as making the logo.
So I have 4 Frenchies, to be completely honest. So
See one in the background there.
collect them, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Frenchie that's actually the logo was the marketing director that had time. She actually came up with the idea. And so we started using the Frenchie on everything. And it's funny because when I got my first Frenchie, who's no longer with us, nobody knew what a Frenchie was. Now Frenchies are everywhere. So I'll have people that will pull up in front of my listings and they'll see the Frenchie on the sign and they have a Frenchie. And then they literally think, oh, it was meant to be. This must be our house. But yeah, I have 4 of them and I bring them up to the office occasionally. They're very stubborn dogs. They're very hard to train, but they have the best personalities.
My dog is a problem. Ours is a Cavachon. Very sweet to us, but anyone that's not us, she thinks she's protecting. I just can't let her out of the house. We've got a little section, rapid fire questions here. And what's like the hot take or something trending currently in Houston right now?
It's amazing how fast we're growing. Our market, where we do the majority of our business in Cypress, is one of the fastest growing areas in the country. So we've got people that are moving here every day. So there's tons of new construction available. We still have lots of land to build on out in this area. So we've got a growing population out in this area.
Obviously with COVID occurring, a lot of people are moving to Texas. Does that slow down a bit or is it still pretty consistent overall?
Houston is a big relocation city. So I think, in fact, somebody mentioned to me this morning when they saw a bunch of new construction, they said, oh, it must be all the people from California. We've kind of seen that slow down. I mean, during COVID, we did see a lot of people exit California and move to Texas. Now we're seeing them move back. I've had a couple people that have moved back that have contacted us to sell their homes because they were moving back to California. But we've just, because of COVID, employers became more comfortable with people being able to work from home. And so there are a lot of jobs that are still completely 100% remote, which allows people to live anywhere that they want. So we get people that move here for that reason. But Houston is a big oil and gas industry, as well as we've got other major industries here as well. And companies are still constantly relocating people. So, we've always got people moving in, people moving out. And it's not necessarily the people from California anymore.
I've spoken to you about this in the past. You've been in real estate for a while. You've seen some crazy things. You probably should write a book about it. Give me just a ridiculous, crazy story that you've experienced in the real estate industry.
One that comes to mind is, so I've had the pleasure of being the court-appointed real estate agent in several divorce cases. I did a really good job for a divorce mediator, and she's now referred me several people. And those can be interesting, especially if it's, a contested divorce or not amicable. So one that I had, it was just, off the charts crazy. Like he had gone around the house and put the scarlet letter A on all her pictures in the house. He didn't want me telling other agents that it was a divorce situation because he was afraid that that would give them leverage because they knew that they had to sell the house. So of course I didn't, but she wanted people to know. So she went and in the boxes in the closet, she wrote hers divorce, his divorce on the boxes so people would know they were getting divorced. He put shrimp in all of her drawers. This was just
Gosh.
constant throughout the process. And then every time we had to negotiate anything, we literally had to mediate. So I was on the phone being sworn in with the mediator every time we had got an offer, had to do a price reduction, negotiate a contract or anything. So
never easy, right? Were there kids involved in that situation?
Thank goodness there were not.
That's a win. All right. Water sports or snow skiing?
I love both, but if I had to choose one or the other, I would have to say water sports because it's warm. And as you know, I don't like the cold. So
if you could go back and start over in real estate, would you?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, this has been, I love what I do. I love meeting, every day is a different day. You meet people from all sorts of backgrounds, everybody has a different story. It's just, I really enjoy that. And I can't imagine doing anything else. I've had many opportunities over the years to go back into pharmaceutical sales. And I had a great career in that as well. I absolutely loved it. But real estate is where I was meant to be.
Love it. What's your favorite room in a house?
The kitchen.
Why?
Because that's where people gather. That's where you're entertained.
Agreed. Do you have a TV in your kitchen?
Close by, yes. You can see the family room TV from the kitchen.
All right. So you've handled everything in real estate from short sales to luxury listings. Is there one you don't do anymore? One that you're not too fond of? And what's your favorite type of real estate to sell?
There's not one that I don't do anymore. I mean, short sales, when I first started in real estate, I had to get certified in short sales because there were so many foreclosures and short sales everywhere. We don't really see short sales too much anymore, although we did close one a couple months ago. And then we've got a buyer right now with this working with one of my agents that wants to make an offer on one. So we are starting to see that again. But I do love working with luxury listings. I love working with sellers in general. That would probably be my favorite transaction.
Cool. And what's the biggest red flag when you have a new listing?
Yeah, I mean, I think if a client's not willing to listen to your advice or, they want to overprice the listing, especially, every market is different. And, during COVID, you could sell anything. It didn't matter. But now, the market has shifted, I think pretty much in the whole United States, but I know in Houston, it is more towards a buyer's market. So if I've got a seller that number one isn't willing to listen to recommended pricing and or recommendations for them to get their house ready to sell, then I probably don't want that listing because it's just going to sit on the market. And it cost us about $1,000 just to take a listing. So we're not in the business to just collect listings like we're playing a game of Monopoly, right? So if we're going to take the listing, we want to make sure that we can sell it. And of course, we want to get the most money for the client, but they need to be realistic as well as far as pricing.
Yeah, I think we have done a little research where you've talked about emotions are a big thing with real estate. How does the emotional investment help you connect with your clients?
You've got to, well, first of all, I always tell the agents on my team, we have to keep our emotions out of it because there are times when, we're dealing with a co-op agent on the other side who's not necessarily cooperative or isn't very pleasant to deal with. And we tend to get emotional. So what I'll tell the agents on my team is call each other, call me, vent that frustration out because you don't want that to come across to your client. Because if you're upset, then you're just going to get your client upset. And we've got to do our best to try to keep emotions out of the transaction and realize that it is a business transaction and you can't be emotional, especially dealing with sellers. And that's why just because you're a good buyer's agent doesn't translate into being a good listing agent because working with sellers can sometimes be more emotional because they're very attached to their house. They think their house is worth X. They've raised their kids in their house. Maybe, a spouse passed away in the house, whatever it is. So you've got to try to take the emotions out of it as much as possible and also be able to connect with them on a level where you can empathize with where they're coming from. But at the same time, keep them moving forward that it is a business transaction.
As you look at 2026, what's in plan for you, your team? What are you guys focused on?
I'm really going to personally focus on luxury listings in our area. We're trying to grow, our business as a team. It's one of the things that motivates me to grow our business is not just to increase the business, but also to serve and to help more customers. Oftentimes I come in and I'm the second or third agent on the listing side of a transaction. And when I learn what the previous agent did or did not do for their client, it fires me up and it gets me to fire the team up because I'm like, everybody deserves an experience like we provide. And not every agent provides what we have. And it just really motivates me to spread the word, to try to get more business and to grow our team so that everybody has the opportunity to work with a team. And not that we're the only team that provides this level of service, but unfortunately, there's a lot of agents out there that don't provide the level of service that a team like ours does.
Makes sense. For those that are interested in working with you, what's the best way to find you?
They can find me on social media, Jill Mentor Smith or Jill Smith Team, or they can email me to jill@jillsmithteam.com, or they're welcome to give me a call too. My cell is easily findable, but I'll give it to you here. It's
Yeah.
281-704-3749.
Well, Jill, thanks so much for coming on. We've loved working with you. I love all the stuff you guys are doing. Look forward to seeing you this year. I'm going to make a Texas trip, so we'll do a little party together.
Yeah.
Thanks so much again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lightning. Great talking to you.